We are honored to have with us today Honourable Gary Anandan Sangarison, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada.
General of Ontario, Maître Steve Bugeaud, Président de l'Association du Barreau canadien.
Steve Bugeaud, President of the Canadian Bar Association.
Treasurer of the Law Society of Ontario, Ms. Jill Perry, President of the Federation of Law Societies of Canada, and Mr. Peter Krywaruk, President of the Advocates Society. Je souhaite en outre la bienvenue aux juges.
I would also like to welcome the retired judges of the court, the many Chief Justices, distinguished members of the judiciary, and guests who are here with us, as well as members of the public across the country who are watching the ceremony remotely via webcast. I would like to welcome the family and friends of Justice O'Bonsawin, particularly her husband, Maître Pierre Robichaud, and their sons, Tristan and Yannick. Madam Registrar, I will now invite you to read the commission under the Great Seal of Canada in both official languages, certifying the appointment of the Honourable Justice O'Bonsawin as a Appointed Judge of the Supreme Court of Canada.
Monsieur le Juge-en-Chef, Mesdames,
Chief Justice, Justices, Canada, Judge 3 by the grace of God of the United Kingdom, Canada and her other realms and territories, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith, to the Honourable Michelle O'Bonsawin, a Judge of the Court of Ontario. Greetings. Know you that we are putting special trust and confidence in your loyalty, integrity, and ability. We, by the advice of our Privy Council, hereby constitute and appoint you, Michelle O'Bonsawin, a Judge of the Supreme Court of Canada. As a puny Judge of the Supreme Court of Canada, you, Michelle O'Bonsawin, will enjoy all the powers, rights, privileges, profits, emoluments, and advantages attached to that office of right and by law appertaining from this day, 2022. In testimony whereof, we have caused our letters to be made patent and the Great Seal of Canada to be hereunto affixed. Witness, our faithful, trusted, and well-beloved Mary Simons, Chancellor's Principal Companion of our Order of Canada, Chancellor and Commander of our Order of Military Merits, Chancellor and Commander of our Order of Merit of the Police Forces, Governor General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada. At our Government House in our city of Ottawa, this day in November 2022 of our Lord in the year 2022, by command, Registrar General of Canada and Attorney General of Canada.
third, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom, Canada, and his other realms and territories, King, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith. To the Honourable Michelle O'Bonsawin, a Judge of the Superior Court of Justice of Ontario. Greeting. Know you that reposing special trust and confidence in your loyalty, integrity, and ability, we, by and with the advice of our Privy Council for Canada, do hereby constitute and appoint you, Michelle O'Bonsawin, a puny Judge of the Supreme Court of Canada, to have, hold, exercise, and enjoy the office of a puny Judge of the Supreme Court of Canada unto you, Michelle O'Bonsawin, with all the powers, rights, authority, privileges, profits, emolument, and advantages unto that office of right and by law appertaining during your good behavior, effective the first day of September in the year of our Lord, 2022. In testimony whereof we have caused these our letters to be made patent, and the Great Seal of Canada to be hereunto affixed. Witness. Our right trustee and well-beloved Mary May Simon, Chancellor and Principal Companion of our Order of Canada, Chancellor and Commander of our Order of Military Merit, Chancellor and Commander of our Order of Merit of the Police Forces, Governor General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada. At our Government House in our city of Ottawa, the second day of November in the year of our Lord 2022 and in the first year of our reign. By command, Registrar General of Canada and Attorney General of Canada.
Merci bien. Alors, j'inviterai
Thank you. I will now call on Justice O'Bonsawin to join the registrar and sign the ceremonial roll book.
Merci. Alors, Madame la juge O'Bonsawin.
Thank you, Madam Justice O'Bonsawin. I now invite you to take your seat on the Supreme Court of Canada bench.
Cette cérémonie d'accueil est la
This welcome ceremony is the fourth welcome ceremony I've had the honor and pleasure of presiding, this time to welcome a new friend and colleague, Justice O'Bonsawin. I hope today's ceremony reflects the warmth with which the court has welcomed Justice O'Bonsawin within its ranks. Her arrival will help to ensure that our country's institutions, including the Supreme Court of Canada, are even more reflective of Canadians. Indeed, Justice O'Bonsawin's appointment to the Supreme Court marks another important step towards reconciliation, a process to which the court has been contributing for a very long time, for close to 50 years, actually. During that time, the court has issued numerous decisions that have shed light on important Indigenous issues. And when the case will present itself, I have no doubt that Justice O'Bonsawin will make a valuable contribution to the court's work on these issues. The culture, background, and legal expertise of each member of the court bring something unique to this historic institution, which is constantly evolving to meet the changing needs of our modern society. Today's ceremony is also an opportunity to celebrate the diversity that characterizes our vast country, a diversity that is increasingly represented in the judiciary system. This, in turn, enforces public confidence in the justice system. Furthermore, upon her arrival, Justice O'Bonsawin had the opportunity to participate in another of the court's efforts to build that trust that I so cherished as we traveled to Quebec City to hear two appeals. This was only the second time in its history that the Supreme Court was hearing cases outside of Ottawa after Winnipeg in 2019. We therefore invited the public to attend the court's hearings in Quebec City. In addition to these hearings, a public event gave people the opportunity to ask us questions about our work as judges. Each judge also took the time to visit a different high school to speak with the students.
Justice O'Bonsawin hit the ground running. She was an enthusiastic participant in the Quebec City visit, and I could feel her excitement in meeting the crowd. I could also feel their excitement in return. They were as delighted as we were to get to know her better. Taking the court outside Ottawa was a valuable opportunity to explain its role in the Canadian justice system and our democracy. I could quickly see, during our visit to Quebec City, that Justin O'Bonsawin and I share the same passion for open courts, access to justice, and education. Indeed, her many pro bono and volunteer activities speak to her generosity in helping others. As a judge, she has volunteered her time with a number of judicial organizations. For example, she has recently been a partner judge for Afghanistan women judges through the International Association of Women Judges. She has also been a member of the Ontario Superior Court's Indigenous Issues Committee, as well as the Superior Court's Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Même avant d'accéder à la magistrature,
even before her appointment to the bench, Justice O'Bonsawin was actively involved in mentoring programs at the University of Ottawa and the Canadian Bar Association, both with students and lawyers. Her participation in mentoring programs is certainly a way for her to share the valuable advice she herself received throughout her career. In an interview she granted a few years ago to Jury Vision, she talked about the adjustment that her first year on the bench required. She spoke of how fortunate she was to have an experienced Superior Court judge to assist her in this important transition from practicing law to being a judge. While practicing law, Justice O'Bonsawin developed a wealth of expertise in the areas of mental health, labor and employment law. She began her career with Canada Post Corporation, where she dealt with a variety of labor and employment law issues. Looking back on her years there, she says she's very grateful for the opportunity to travel across the country and gain a better understanding of the ties that bind us together as Canadians. This experience then led her to the Royal Ottawa Healthcare Group, where she was responsible for setting up the legal department of that organization. It was in this role that she gained expertise in mental health law. It was also during this time that she had the opportunity to appear before the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario, the Consent and Capacity Board, the Ontario Review Board, the Ontario Court of Justice, the Ontario Superior Court of Justice, and the Ontario Court of Appeal. Subsequently, her appointment to the Ontario Superior Court of Justice in 2017 included relevant experience in criminal, family law, and child protection matters.
Arrival at the Supreme Court, Justice O'Bonsawin has impressed upon everyone her generosity and collegiality. She is also a lifelong learner. After graduating from high school, Justice O'Bonsawin undertook a Bachelor of Arts at Laurentian University. She then attended the University of Ottawa's French Common Law program. During her studies, she volunteered in the Legal Aid Clinic in Indigenous Services, and she was a member of the Indigenous Students Association. She was admitted to the Ontario Bar in 2000. Her next academic undertaking was a Master of Laws with a specialization in mental health law while working full-time as General Counsel at the Royal Ottawa. Later, Justice O'Bonsawin found the time to pursue a PhD, which she successfully defended last December while she was a sitting judge. Michelle, you must be running out of degrees to take on. La juge O'Bonsawin valorise également.
Justice O'Bonsawin also values public education. She has given speeches in English and French on mental health, the Gladue principles, Indigenous law, inclusion and diversity, and access to justice, notably. During the pandemic, Justice O'Bonsawin also began learning Abenaki, the language of the Odanak First Nation. Those who attended the Parliamentary Committee's question and answer session were very appreciative of her first words in that language. They spoke of the hope and excitement of her appointment. Let me pause here for a moment to mention in passing that this hearing was part of the selection process conducted by the Office of the Commissioner for Federal Judicial Affairs, a process that is intended to be open, independent, and transparent. Such a process can only further enhance public confidence in the justice system.
Well, you mentioned during the Parliamentary Committee's question and answer session that a high school guidance teacher once told you that a legal career would be out of your reach. You responded, "You just watch me." I hope your story of persisting in the face of doubt will encourage students listening to today's ceremony to follow their dreams also. And like you, I hope they put their talents towards helping others and making this great country even better for everyone. En mon nom,
on my own behalf and on behalf of my colleagues, congratulations once again, Madam Justice O'Bonsawin. We look forward to working with you and count on your friendship. Let me reiterate my best wishes to Pierre, Tristan, and Yannick, who no doubt have already understand how demanding the work of the court is. I wish to thank them in particular for the support they will give you and give the Supreme Court in the weeks and years to come. On behalf of all of us, welcome to the Supreme Court of Canada. Thank you.
je vais maintenant demander au secrétaire
I will now ask the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada, Honourable Gary Anandasangarison, to say a few words.
Good morning. Chief Justice Legnar, Justices, distinguished guests. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we're gathered on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples. C'est un privilège de me joindre à vous afin d'accueillir.
It is a privilege to join you in officially welcoming Honourable Michelle O'Bonsawin to the Supreme Court of Canada. This is a great moment for Justice O'Bonsawin, her family and friends, for the Supreme Court, and for all Canadians.
Sometimes speak about the Supreme Court as sitting at the very top of the pyramid of Canada's judicial system. Provincial and territorial courts, superior courts, courts of appeal, all feed into this, our final General Court of Appeal, the pinnacle of the judicial branch of our government. This is where historic decisions are made that affect not only the lives of individual litigants, but Canada's legal fabric as a whole. Here, we rely on a handful of trusted voices to reflect the incredible diversity of our country, to serve Canadians from all walks of life with wisdom and compassion, and to ensure that justice always prevails. Today, we're here to welcome the Honourable Michelle O'Bonsawin to this esteemed court. She will help guide the evolution of Canada's laws with a deep commitment to fairness, inclusion, and the rule of law. Justice O'Bonsawin's appointment has generated a great deal of excitement right across the country, and for good reason. She brings tremendous expertise in mental health law. She's fluent in both English and French, and she's studying her Indigenous Abenaki language. She completed her doctorate while working full-time as a judge at the Superior Court of Justice of Ontario. This speaks to her very nature, her willingness to work hard and follow through no matter what. She also made history as the first Indigenous jurist to be appointed to the Supreme Court of Canada. Justice O'Bonsawin is a thoughtful and insightful judge who brings a deep commitment to service and to the importance of an inclusive and compassionate legal system. Her unique voice will add richness to this court. Madam Justice O'Bonsawin, throughout your career, you have sought fairness for people from all walks of life. This drive to ensure that all people are treated fairly is rooted in your own journey. You have been candid about the complex intersectional issues you've faced and how they have shaped you, your identity as a woman, an Indigenous person, a mother, a Francophone, a rural Ontarian. We admire you for that openness and for the way you have woven all of these lived experiences into your career. Ces expériences ont visiblement influencé votre travail.
These experiences have clearly influenced your work as an intellectual, a lawyer, and a judge, and they will serve you well as you take your place on the bench of the highest court in the country.
A former Supreme Court Justice Rosalie Abala, as she was reflecting on the many opportunities she accepted throughout her career, and I quote, "I didn't spend a second thinking about whether these would lead me to a seat on the Supreme Court of Canada, because I knew they wouldn't. And yet, here I am. And today, Madam Justice O'Bonsawin, here you are. I expect that you will continue to be a trailblazer with the same determination you have shown as a judge with the Superior Court of Justice of Ontario, as well as courtrooms and classrooms over the years. Dans ces rôles, vous contribuerez à façonner.
In this role, you will help shape our justice system for the future, putting people at the center of our responses while striving to leave no one behind.
On behalf of the Honourable David Lametti, Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada, I would like to congratulate you on your appointment and offer my best wishes to you and to your family as you take up the duties of this distinguished office. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.
Merci, Maître.
Thank you, Counsel.
I will now invite Mr. Doug Downey, Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Ontario, to address the court.
Good morning, and thank you, Chief Justice Wagner and Justice O'Bonsawin, Ontario's Associate Chief of the Court of Appeal, Justice Fairbairn, the Honourable Gary Anandasingiri, Presidents, Treasurer, friends and colleagues, but most importantly, the family of Justice O'Bonsawin. Welcome. And thank you for the opportunity to provide congratulations on behalf of all Ontarians. Today is an inspiring and proud moment as we all come together to mark a prestigious day in Ontario and our nation. As others before me have said so eloquently, this is a momentous day for this country and for this court. The renewal and evolution of our country's highest court is important for every Canadian and each of the provinces and territories we call home, and it's cause for celebration. The Supreme Court of Canada holds a vital and especially responsible place in our nation, and the decisions made here affect the lives of all Canadians every day. We all, as elected officials, public servants, advocates, citizens, we look to the Supreme Court of Canada to uphold the values and principles that we consider fundamental in our lives: fairness, integrity, compassion, balance. And as my fellow speakers have illustrated, and as you have demonstrated in your honourable service as a Justice of the Superior Court of Ontario, Justice O'Bonsawin possesses the skills needed to serve the court in this time of transformation. Your experience, standard of excellence, and dedication to making our society better serve as the best possible testament to your addition to the Supreme Court of Canada. It is also heartening that you come from the middle of Ontario. Some think Hanmer is in the north, but some of us know it is in fact in the middle of the map of Ontario. And that's where you developed your grit and determination, and a unique perspective on the challenges that face our nation. You have my assurance that the province of Ontario will continue to contribute to the pride and confidence so many have in the court and in our legal system alongside you. Here in Ontario, we've made and continue to make unprecedented investments across the justice sector, moving quickly to modernize the system, make it one that's even more accessible. We're breaking down barriers, increasing access to the legal system through critical investments, whether it be justice centres or reliable internet in each of the 29 fly-in communities that Ontario serves, expanding French language services, changing civil rules, updating estate procedures that haven't been touched in decades. Our communities have waited long enough. The justice system must be accessible and responsible to all people. And as we face new and enduring challenges, I'm confident in our collective ability to improve the justice system. And I believe the addition of Justice O'Bonsawin to the Supreme Court of Canada is, in addition to many things, a further investment in the modernization of our court system. Being closely acquainted with the privilege and complexities of selecting judiciary, I'd also like to congratulate Honourable David Lametti and his government's remarkable choice. I thank you for this opportunity to be with you and to share in the celebration of Justice O'Bonsawin's ongoing contributions to our country, to the law, and their continuing renewal. It's a wonderful day for this country and here in the province of Ontario. On behalf of the Premier of Ontario and our province, please accept my heartfelt congratulations, Justice O'Bonsawin. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.
Thank you, Minister. Maintenant, je cède la parole.
Now I'll give the floor to Mr. Bujold, President of the Canadian Bar Association. You have the floor, sir.
Monsieur le juge en chef,
Mr. Chief Justice of Canada, members of the court, Parliamentary Secretary of the Minister of Justice of Canada, the Minister of Justice of Ontario, distinguished members of the judiciary, colleagues, distinguished guests, it's a great privilege to be here today to pay tribute to you, Madam Justice O'Bonsawin. On behalf of the 37,000 members of the Canadian Bar Association, congratulations on your appointment to the Supreme Court of Canada.
your nomination, Brad Regier, the first Indigenous president of our association, said, "My heart is bursting with joy." Brad is here with us today, and I can assure you his sentiments are felt by everyone in this room. Le chemin que vous avez parcouru
The path you have traveled has led you today to the Supreme Court of Canada. Your name in the Abenaki language means pathfinder, a fitting name for the first Indigenous judge to sit on our country's highest court.
Your historic appointment marks one of many accomplishments over the course of your career. Your vast experience in the areas of mental health, Gladue principles, human rights, as well as labor and privacy law will serve this court immensely. Your expertise, along with your determination, curiosity, and frank authenticity, will make you a strong and effective arbiter of truth and justice. Dans votre nouveau rôle, vous continuez.
In your new role, you will continue to be an inspirational role model for all Canadians, including First Nations people and particularly young Indigenous lawyers. I witnessed firsthand your positive influence on a whole generation of young lawyers at the Indigenous Bar Association's annual meeting held last month in Montreal. Your appointment sends a clear message to them that your ambitions and dreams are achievable.
As you have mentioned yourself, Madam Justice, growing up as Indigenous and Franco-Ontarian in a small community brought its fair share of personal challenges, including experience of discrimination and racism. Your impressive and impactful career is a testament to your dedication to creating a just and fair society for all, and our country is better for it. Nous savons que la voie vers la réconciliation.
We know that the road to reconciliation with Indigenous people is long. It is essential for all Canadians to deepen our understanding of the history, languages, cultures, and legal traditions of Indigenous people who have lived on these lands since time immemorial. And as a legal community, we must recognize our own responsibility in this journey towards reconciliation. After all, Indigenous legal orders were here long before colonization imposed Western legal systems. As a Justice of the Supreme Court of Canada, I am confident that you will play a vital role in reviving Indigenous legal traditions that have been sidelined by centuries of colonization in Canada.
Governments and our courts still have plenty of work ahead in weaving Indigenous tradition into the fabric of Canadian law. And we must, every day, recommit ourselves to that work. That's why our association is advancing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action, particularly as they relate to promoting the recognition of Indigenous traditions in the legal system. We have also long championed the importance of a representative judiciary, We will continue to inform the process of selecting judges to sit on our courts so that they reflect Canadian society in all its diversity. Judges, lawyers, notaries bring their unique lived experiences, knowledge, and skills to the work that they do. Our legal system is stronger when we pursue and embrace a wide range of expertise and lived experiences from practitioners. Justice O'Bonsawin, you have been an active member of the Canadian Bar Association for over 20 years, and you've made an enormous difference in our professional lives, in the professional lives of our members through your engagement and mentoring. I know that you will continue to inspire us and countless Canadians as you embark on this important new chapter of a most impressive career. Kamom Zimel, Wadzi, Migene Gaan, Kongsi, Kanadai, Purdewaz, Wanganek. Congratulations on your appointment to the Supreme Court of Canada au nom de l'Association du Bar.
On behalf of the Canadian Bar Association, I would like to congratulate you, Madam Justice O'Bonsawin, and I wish you every success.
Merci, Maître Bugeaud.
Thank you, Mr. Bugeaud.
Society of Ontario, Jacqueline Horvat, to say a few words.
Chief Justice, honorable justices, distinguished guests, the family of Justice O'Bonsawin, and members of the public. It is my great pleasure and honor to join you today as the Treasurer of the Law Society of Ontario to welcome and congratulate the Honourable Michelle O'Bonsawin as she takes up her position at the Supreme Court of Canada. C'est un plaisir pour moi de m'adresser à...
It's a pleasure for me to speak, to congratulate the Honourable Michelle O'Bonsawin on behalf of the Ontario Bar.
O'Bonsawin, you stand with us today representing many different and unique faces of the legal profession, of our communities, and most importantly, of the people we serve. Vous avez joué un rôle.
You have played an important role in the Franco-Ontarian legal community and are dedicated to ensuring that the voice of Indigenous people is heard.
Career, you have already left a lasting mark on the legal landscape of the country as a lawyer, a skilled and respected practitioner, and as one of the first Indigenous justices in the Ontario Superior Court of Justice. We have heard and will hear from others today about your many professional accomplishments and long-standing commitment to enhancing access to justice. You are a respected author and an expert in legal issues related to mental health and the Gladue principles, and in labor and employment law, human rights law, and privacy law. You are also a distinguished academic, a talented researcher, and a leader. It would be easy to go on because your professional achievements and contributions are many. But you also stand before us as a parent, a caregiver, a community member. And as you take on this appointment, we are also reminded that you come to us as a Francophone, a woman, and an Indigenous person. It is the depth of these diverse lived experiences that makes your appointment so meaningful, and so meaningful to many. The spectrum of experience on the bench of our highest court is deeply important. Your lived experiences and exceptional contributions to the law will enhance the quality of justice, public confidence in the justice system, and help move us forward on the paths to truth and reconciliation and access to justice. Access to justice is, after all, about building a people-centered justice system that breaks down barriers and is inclusive and reflective of all members of our society. With your appointment to the Supreme Court of Canada, you bring additional voice, perspective, and inspiration. And so we celebrate your appointment and the opportunities it represents to broaden and enrich our justice system. At the same time, we also recognize the weight that these responsibilities may impose, as you are and will be, consciously by some and unconsciously by others, held to a different and more challenging standard than those who came to this court before you. You are more than well equipped to meet these challenges. That is abundantly clear. But this responsibility does not rest solely on your shoulders alone. It is up to each of us to support and stand with you, to listen and learn, and to ensure that the diverse perspectives and rich stories of Indigenous peoples are woven into the fabric of our justice system and integrated into the cultures of our communities. It is the spirit of inclusivity that you bring to this role that is so important, because it empowers and inspires others, including me, to celebrate our own personal real-world stories and uniqueness. Your story, your lived experience, is a powerful one. It shows the world in a different light, helps people visualize themselves within the story, builds connection and purpose, and creates the space for change. I look forward to seeing the diverse perspectives you encapsulate as you enrich the decision-making process as you take on this role. Madam Justice, on behalf of the Law Society of Ontario's 60,000 members, I thank you for your ongoing contributions and to offer you the deepest of congratulations on your appointment. Thank you, Ulini, merci, miigwech.
Thank you, Ms. Orvat. I will now invite the President of the Federation of Law Societies of Canada, Ms. Jill Perry, to address the Court.
Honourable Justices of the Supreme Court of Canada, distinguished guests, and of course, Madame la Juge O'Bonsawin. On behalf of the Federation of Law Societies of Canada, which is the association of 14 law societies across Canada, I want to express heartfelt congratulations to you and to your family as you take on this new position and assume the duties of Supreme Court Justice of Canada. What a truly extraordinary appointment and what a truly extraordinary day for everyone. Nous célébrons aujourd'hui le parcours unique.
Today we celebrate the unique and inspiring journey of Madam Justice Michelle O'Bonsawin. All of today's speakers have rightly mentioned and will continue to point out the historic significance of this appointment. But that is something that is worth repeating and emphasizing.
4 reasons why today's appointment is such a cause for celebration. First, diversity matters. The work of this court in general and the administration of justice in general is enhanced when we have justices who truly reflect the Canadian population. We need people on this bench who can bring with them the broad range of Canadian backgrounds and experiences when ruling on matters of national concern. As has been noted, Madame Justice O'Bonsawin, you are particularly well-suited to enhance this diversity, being an Abenaki woman from Odanak First Nation, being a Franco-Ontarian from a small rural area, and of course, no less importantly, being the proud mother of 2 sons. You will undoubtedly bring a fresh perspective to the many issues that come before this court. Des nouveaux points de vue au sein de nos plus grands.
New perspectives within our largest institutions, especially from those who have not always been heard, are essential to our development as a country. It is by making room for new points of view that we truly develop a country. The second reason, related to the first, is the spatial significance of representation of Indigenous peoples.
System in Canada. We are the envy of the world, in fact, as we often remind ourselves. But we cannot deny that for too long, judicial decisions affecting the lives of Indigenous people have been made without Indigenous people being adequately represented amongst those with authority. We also cannot deny the role that legal institutions have had in the colonization of Indigenous people and the systemic racism that persists to this day in Canada. And so, reconciliation is one of the most significant challenges that we face today as Canadians in Canadian society. A critical step towards that reconciliation goal is ensuring that Indigenous people are represented and involved at the highest decision-making levels across all government branches, which of course includes the judiciary. La justice n'en exige pas moins.
Justice requires no less. In this regard, your elevation to this court, Madam Justice, is a crucial step on a much longer road that we Canadians in general and members of the legal profession in particular must take to ensure that the injustices of the past are rectified. There is another reason, a third reason, why we are celebrating today. It is the revival of Indigenous legal traditions that is essential to reconciliation and self-government for Indigenous peoples.
Celebration I wish to highlight is vitally connected to the reconciliation challenge that I just mentioned. The Supreme Court of Canada has, in fact, as has already been mentioned today, played a key role in the revival of Indigenous legal traditions. In the landmark Chilcotin Nation decision, this court confirmed that Aboriginal title includes the right to decide how lands are to be used and managed, including through the exercise of Indigenous peoples' own laws. The decision confirmed that common law and Indigenous law perspectives, quote, bear equal weight in evaluating a claim for Aboriginal title. Now, this court will undoubtedly continue to address the significance of traditional Indigenous legal orders for years to come, especially now that Canada has legislated the implementation of its commitments under the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. It is heartening to know that we have a brilliant new justice who will be part of this work that is so central to the goal of reconciliation in Canada. There's a fourth and final cause for celebration I wish to mention, and that is that Justice O'Bonsawin has traveled a unique path to this highest court, as has been elaborated by all of our speakers today. Her career has clearly been guided by a concern for humanity in general and a commitment to the area of mental health law in particular. In fact, one of Justice O'Bonsawin's greatest contributions is her research on the use of Gladue principles in a forensic mental health system. Her expertise has also helped raise awareness about the importance of identifying mental health problems at the start of legal proceedings so that individuals can access the help they need. We know that we are in the middle of a mental health crisis in this country. Hardly a day goes by without hearing reports about the number of people suffering from mental health issues. We witness it daily in our communities, in our courts, on our streets, and in our personal lives. We know all too well the impact that this crisis poses as a challenge for our justice system. We also know that people who suffer from mental illness are dangerously exposed to cascading legal problems. And finally, we know that members of the legal profession, unfortunately, are far from immune and indeed may be particularly susceptible to mental health challenges. The results of a recently released national study of the well-being of legal professionals are disturbing, if not surprising. But Justice O'Bonsawin's record of commitment to mental health issues will serve this court and, in turn, our country well in facing that challenge head-on. So these four causes for celebration that I've highlighted are, of course, just a sampling of all that Justice O'Bonsawin has to offer to this court and to our country in her new role. En effet, son engagement de longue date en...
Indeed, her long-standing commitment to equality, a commitment she pursues with courtesy and compassion, also serves to humanize the law and the administration of justice. There is no doubt that Your wealth of experience, your humanity, and your talent, Madam Justice, will benefit this court.
On behalf of the Federation and of all of Canada's law societies, I wish you every success in this new phase of your extraordinary career. And to your family and your close ones who have joined with you here today, you have every reason to be immensely proud. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. I now invite Mr. Peter Cryer-Rook, President of the Advocate Society, to address the court.
Chief Justice, Honourable Justices, Attorney General, Parliamentary Secretary, Treasurer and colleagues at the bar, and distinguished guests. Justice O'Bonsawin, Paquid Nguizian. Au nom de la Société des...
On behalf of the Advocate Society and advocates across Canada, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to you and your family on your appointment to the Supreme Court of Canada.
We acknowledge and celebrate the historic nature of your appointment as the first Indigenous Justice to be appointed to the Supreme Court of Canada. When Justice Bertha Wilson, the first woman appointed to the Supreme Court, was sworn in on March 30th, 1982, she observed that the day held for so many a sense of satisfaction in the evolution and fulfillment of a long-standing dream. Justice O'Bonsawin, the same may be said today, 40 years later, of your appointment. The realization of this dream, held by so many within and outside the justice system, will no doubt instill greater belief and trust in this institution, to which we entrust the resolution of our most fundamental legal and constitutional disputes. Those who go first face challenges and shoulder burdens for those who come after. But you're no stranger to challenges, Justice O'Bonsawin. As I reflect on your distinguished career, I'm struck by the fact that your life has been a series of remarkable firsts. These firsts include that you were the first member of your family to go to law school, culminating with your recent PhD in law. You were the first Indigenous woman to be appointed to the Ontario Superior Court of Justice in Ottawa. You were the first Abenaki judge appointed to a Canadian court. And now you are the first Indigenous person to be appointed to the highest court in our country, the Supreme Court of Canada. To achieve your childhood dream of becoming a lawyer and to achieve the impressive firsts that followed you, you overcame challenges and adversity because of your work ethic, your determination, and your refusal to be deterred. Although those who go first have to break down barriers, it is a position that advocates in particular come to cherish. Going first allows the advocate to shape the narrative before the court, to demonstrate command of the case, and to outline a path for the court to follow. Justice O'Bonsawin, your career demonstrates that you too see the value in being first. As the first Indigenous jurist on this court, we have no doubt that you will help shape your narrative. You will demonstrate your command of the law, and you will outline a path for the court to follow in your many areas of expertise, including Gladue principles, mental health, Indigenous issues, employment and labor, as well as human rights and privacy law. Perhaps blazing these trails and dismantling these barriers was destiny for you, as your last name means pathfinder in Abenaki. A pathfinder is a person who goes ahead and discovers and shows others a way. You have clearly been a pathfinder, a role model, and a mentor for so many, both within and beyond the legal profession. With this appointment, we know that you will continue to carve a path for the many who will follow. We trust that the experiences and knowledge you have gathered as a Franco-Ontarian, fluent in French and in English, a First Nations woman studying your Abenaki language, a mother, a parent, a lawyer, a scholar, a professor, a trial judge, and a devoted community member provide you with an understanding of the lived experiences of many Canadians. As the Supreme Court approaches its 150th anniversary in just a few short years, the Court now more than ever reflects the diversity of our Canadian society. A diverse, representative, and of course independent judiciary can only further strengthen the rule of law in our democracy. Justice O'Bonsawin, once again, I extend to you my sincere congratulations and the best wishes of the Advocate Society as you embark upon this enormous privilege and responsibility that lies ahead. Thank you. Merci, Ulini.
Thank you very much, sir. Il est maintenant temps pour
It's now time for a new colleague to tell us a few words. Madam Justice O'Bonsawin, you have the floor. Thank you. Let me start by acknowledging that we are on the unceded territory of our cousins of the Abenaki and Anishinaabe.
Nodzawi Odanak, Wabanakik Kalnoba, Taplawino Nia. Je me nomme Michelle O'Bonsawin et je suis.
I am Michelle O'Bonsawin. I'm a member of the Adanak First Nation of the Tortoise Clan. Good morning, Chief Justice, members of the Judiciary, Honourable Gary Anand Dasa Garrison, Parliamentary Secretary of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada, Honourable Doug Downey, Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Ontario, Mr. Steve Bourgeau, President of the Canadian Bar Association, Mr. Domchamp, Representative of the Indigenous Bar Association, Jacqueline Ovart, Treasurer of the Law Society of Ontario, Jill Perry, President of Federation of Law Societies of Canada, Peter Krivorik, President of the Advocacy Society, Daniel Lorek, President of the Odanak Nation, former member of the Joint Court, distinguished guests, ladies, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to be with you today.
And through determination and also with the support of a dynamic group, I reached my goal of being a judge at the Supreme Court of Canada. My journey to this court has not been an easy one, but it has been meaningful and rewarding. I feel very fortunate that the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and the selection committee had faith in me. I replaced the irreplaceable Justice Michael Moldaver. He has been very kind to me since joining this court and has provided me with amazing advice. I'm very cognizant of the very big shoes that I have to fill. I joined a dynamic court where great jurists like Justice Bertha Wilson, Justice Claire L'Heureux-Dubé, Justice Beverly McLaughlin, and Justice Rosalie Abella have sat. These women inspired me to want to sit on the highest court of our land. I hope that my journey to this court will inspire young women to pursue their dreams. I am a big believer that if you have a goal, work hard, and never give up, you can make things happen and achieve those dreams. I love to meet youth, as you've heard. I often talk to them about my journey and of, at times, the mistakes that I've made. I've fallen down, I've made mistakes. However, mistakes have been my teachers, and I have learned from those mistakes. I have always gotten up and continued, at times with trepidation, but always moving forward. Our actions are reflections of ourselves. We must be proud of who we are and of our uniqueness. I have a lot of people to thank. I did not get to this court on my own. Many people supported, encouraged, and mentored me along the way. Je suis très reconnaissante de l'amour et du soutien.
I am grateful for the support and love of my parents. From a very young age, they supported me. Like a great sports person, I was very proud that my parents were always present at my various games, ringette, basketball, softball, and even ping pong competitions. My grandmother, Jacqueline, had a great influence in my life. She was a contemporary woman and showed me how to be a confident and independent woman without undermining my values. My mom died recently, but I know she's present here with us today. I would also like to thank my parents-in-law. They always give me good advice on life, family, and politics. And Jeanette gave me good family advice on how to be a good mom. Thank you very much, Fena and Jeanette. I'm grateful to my close friends who are here today, Julie, Pascal, Antoinette, Kotima, and Nicola. They supported me constantly. Even when I spoke continuously about my hopes, your support has been valuable. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to my teacher, Ms. Clamfonier. She was my teacher in 10th and 11th grade and encouraged me to follow my dreams in law. Some members of the O'Bonsawin family traveled from Sudbury to come here with us, and I'm very happy of their presence here with us. The O'Bonsawin family has supported me throughout my life, and without you, I will not be the person I am today. A great shout out to you all. In spite of the fact that I'm a single child, I have a senior sister. My cousin Denise has always played a role in my life. I also have a brother, my cousin Andre. I love you so much, the two of you. I also like to thank my Odanak First Nation, the regional chief, Rochelle Bican, for their support. I am proud to be an Abenaki from Donak. Your support has been essential to my success and to my identity. Tracy Craig.
She was 3. I met my partner in crime. She has always been there to listen to me and provide me with her friendship and advice. Tracy, you are my sister from another mother, and your support through every stage of my life is greatly appreciated. During my professional career as counsel, I have had exceptional mentorship. Phil Dempsey, John Devine, and Barbara Walker-Renshaw. They taught me how to be meticulous, thoughtful, and a great litigator. You have all been great mentors and friends to me. As I have said in the past, I have stood on the shoulders of giants. The Honourable Marie Sinclair, Phil Fontaine, and Justice Harry Laflamme all provided me with very wise advice over the past few years. Thank you for your guidance and belief in me. It is truly appreciated. My first judicial mentor was Justice Chuck Hackland. Chuck, you're a great legal mind, and I greatly benefited from your mentorship. Thank you, Chuck. I was also very fortunate enough to rub shoulders with Justice Ronald Liberté and Justice Anne London Weinstein, who are criminal law rock stars. Ron actually is a rock star and plays a mean guitar. Despite her heavy workload, Anne always made time for me. Merci, Ron and Anne. I've been fortunate to work with a wonderful group of judges at the Superior Court of Justice, who all played a role in shaping my career. Callum, Julie, Marc, Tracy, Joanne, and Hélène. Je vous remercie du fond de mon cœur pour...
Sincere thanks for your support and friendship.
Very important for me to thank my PhD supervisor, Professor João Veloso. From the beginning of my PhD journey, he believed in me and my project. He stuck by me even when others were not as encouraging. Professor Veloso continually provided me with great advice and thoughtful feedback. João, I am extremely thankful. Merci pour ton support.
Thank you for your support.
Thank Kristen O'Doherty, Brad Morse, Scott Robertson, and Justice Georgina Jackson for their invaluable counsel and advice over the past few years. Your endless support contributed to my journey to this court, and I thank you all very much. De plus, je suis très reconnaissante.
I'm also very grateful to the support of my new colleagues. I've received heartfelt welcome. I've already adopted some of them as mentors. I am proud to be part of this new small family. I would like to conclude my gratitude with the most important. for my small family, my spouse, Pierre, and my sons, Yannick and Tristan.
J'ai rencontré Pierre
I met Pierre during my first day of law school. I'm sorry, for those who don't know, I'm very emotional. I was charmed by him from the very first moments. He's always been my biggest fan and my strongest force. He gives me the best advice, and he's done so throughout my career. When I was discouraged, Pierre always told me I was able. We will be celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary this summer. The greatest success came from our sons, Yannick and Tristan. I want them to know that I'm proud to be their mom. I always wanted to show my sons that it's possible to achieve success at the highest level. I constantly tell them that perseverance is a key to success. I think they're tired of hearing me say that. I love you very much. Thank you all for your support.
to recognize all of those who have had an impact on my life and my career. If I fail to mention them, please know that your support is not forgotten. But I have only a few minutes, and I have to tell you, I'm melting in my robe. Nadala mikok ne gon sozak adodi milhidit wawon damwagan noli ni kawan mziwi awani no dawit. I'm grateful to my ancestors for giving me wisdom today. I thank everyone who took the time to listen to me. Je suis très reconnaissante de mes...
I am grateful to my ancestors for giving me wisdom today. I want to thank all those who took the time to listen to me. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Madame.
Thank you very much, Madam Justice O'Bonsawin. Thank you very much. I also want to thank all of you who have joined us either in person at the court or online. The meeting is now adjourned. The court will reconvene tomorrow morning, Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Thank you. Have a great day.